Oh, hey there!
Wow, that was really loud on my end.
And it was really echoey. Oh, hey there!
Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there. Get in there, nice and...
Stop.
Sorry. I just love that movie so much.
Name the movie.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball is so great.
It really is. Vince Vaughn's best work. Should have got an Oscar.
Okay, so this is The Origin of Weird by the History Buffoons. I am Kate.
History Buffoons. She's Kate. I'm Bradley.
And we are on a time crunch.
We are on a time crunch. That's okay. So we don't normally do a beer on Origin. We've done one before. I think it's only been one. However,
this is new.
This is brand new. I saw this. I texted to Kate the picture of it. She's like, we got to try that. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So Kate is a big fan of Modelo. She likes it with lime.
Yes.
This is a Corona.
Yes. Very similar.
Same company. But this is called Corona Sunbrew Citrus Cerveza.
Cerveza.
Which means beer. And
I was going to say head.
Means what?
Head. Cabeza. My bad.
Yeah, that's way different. Anyways, because... I don't say Magusta Cerveza. I say Magusta Cerveza.
Cerveza.
But it does say that it has what is it? Brewed with real citrus peels with a splash of real citrus juice. So it's got lime and orange in it.
Oh my gosh, I want to try it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sip.
Oh my.
Oh.
Oh my.
Oh dear.
Oh my.
That is not bad.
Oh my, that's quite tasty.
That's quite refreshing.
If you like citrus.
And you like beer.
This is quite refreshing.
This is quite delicious.
Holy balls.
Yeah, sorry, we got to take another sip.
Mm-hmm. That is so good. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I'm ready for summer.
I am so glad I bought a 12-pack instead of a 6-pack.
Yes.
Because it was only $5 more for a 12-pack.
It's so I'm like, great.
Sign me up.
I love it.
No, this is really good.
Okay, so...
I should have brought 2 over here. Son of a bitch. Anyways, all right, let's do this.
So this is the origin of weird.
Origin of weird. Let's go. Let's find the origin of weird.
We're going to go back in history, naturally.
Well, that's what we do.
We're going to go to April 1862. Do you know what happened in the United States in 1862-ish?
April 1860.
Yeah, just like the year 1862.
I wasn't around then.
1861, 1863, 64, 65 particularly, 61 to 65 particularly.
Can I say something real quick?
Uh-huh.
I'm excited to find out.
The American Civil War.
1862.
1861 to 1865.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We are going to be in April 1862.
Gotcha.
And so we're almost a year in at this point.
Okay.
Okay. So the Union, led by Ulysses S. Grant,
so the North,
had their eyes set on Corinth, Mississippi.
Corinth. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question before we move on to Corinth.
Let's do it.
What does the S in Ulysses S. Grant mean?
Stupendous.
No.
Shoddy?
No.
Stephen?
No.
I have no idea.
That should have been your answer.
I have no idea?
Yes, because it literally means nothing.
So he just had a middle initial?
So his name was Hiram or something like that. Ulysses was his middle name.
Oh.
And Grant was his last name. And when he signed up for the Army, whoever wrote his name down wrote it down as Ulysses Grant, but he didn't know that Ulysses wasn't his first name.
Real name, yeah.
Yeah. So he just put whoever it was. I read it, but I don't care right now. But whoever wrote it down was like, S is a good middle initial. We'll just put S. So he was always since then known as Ulysses S. Grant.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Corinth.
What's up, Hiram?
So Corinth was a major railroad junction in Mississippi. So it was a really vital artery for the Confederacy.
Do you know how to spell Mississippi?
Mississippi.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay.
I learned that from my really young elementary school days.
Oh.
Okay. So
for the folks listening at home, she just put her fingernails on her shirt and was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yep, I'm good.
Anyways. Oh, wait. She's taking a sip of beer and go.
So Corinth was a major railroad junction. So if you cut that off, you choke off the South's ability to move troops.
Okay.
And their supplies, right?
Right.
So Grant's army was camped out at Pittsburgh Landing, which was about 20 miles away from Corinth.
Okay.
And they were waiting for reinforcements from Don Carlos Buell's army of Ohio.
Don Carlos Buell?
Yeah, so
that's quite the name.
So Grant and Buell were going to combine forces at Pittsburgh Landing.
Gotcha.
So Grant's waiting for this other infantry to come.
Yeah, they were going to merge together and super army.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So they were spread out. They were a little bit relaxed.
Sure.
And no one really expected any kind of assault here.
Okay.
But it happened.
Oh, dear.
Confederate General Albert Sidney Johnston.
I'm not familiar.
He was actually really well respected. He was experienced, and he was actually probably one of the highest ranking officials in the Civil War.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. So he knew he had to hit Grant before Buell and his army showed up.
Sure. I wonder if my brother Ryan, my oldest brother, was a huge fan of the Civil War. Like, he studied it a lot in high school and such. I wonder if you know about this guy.
Yeah, maybe. So days before the battle, and I will explain the battle.
Sure.
It rained.
Oh, really?
It wasn't just like a drizzle.
It was acid rain?
It was it was a downpour.
Oh, dear.
And it turned all these roads into muddy awfulness.
Sludge. Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
So imagine trying to move tens of thousands of men, cannons, wagons through this muddy, nasty quagmire of a mess.
I like that you used the word quagmire. That's fantastic.
It slowed Johnston's advance north, but it didn't stop him.
Well, no, but it slowed him down.
But by the evening of April 5th, 1862, his army was positioned just a few miles from the Union camps, ready to pounce, right?
Sure.
So April 6th, Sunday morning, early.
Super early in the morning.
At dawn.
Oh, dear.
The Confederates burst from the woods. So Mississippi, Tennessee, we're in the thick of wooded areas.
Yeah.
So they were hiding in the woods.
Okay.
And it was a complete surprise to the Union soldiers. Many of them green recruits, super fresh.
Super new, yeah.
Completely caught off guard.
Sure.
And the initial assault hit the Union divisions of Sherman and Prentiss.
Okay.
And then there was chaos, confusion, desperate fighting. The Confederates pushed really hard, driving the Union line back towards Pittsburgh Landing. Because remember, they're advancing to Corinth, right?
Sure.
So the fighting was particularly intense around Shiloh Church.
Okay.
Shiloh Church was a small log structure that became kind of the focal point of the battle. Okay. So there was a thicket of trees around Shiloh Church called the Hornet's Nest.
Oh, dear.
And a bunch of
ominous.
Well, it's a bunch of undergrowth where the Union soldiers made a huge desperate stand.
Okay.
So, the fighting there was pretty fierce. It was brutal, close quarter struggle.
Sure.
Union soldiers dug in behind whatever they could find, poured volley after volley into the advancing Confederates from the trees.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
Right.
So the sound of musket fire was like a swarm of angry hornets, hence the name Hornet's Nest.
That makes sense. Okay.
They held on for hours,
oh, dear.
buying precious time for the rest of the Union Army to regroup.
Right.
So tragically, General Johnston was killed leading an attack. And maybe that's why you didn't hear of him.
Oh.
Because he died within a year of the Civil War starting.
So he died early on.
He did.
That's probably a good reason why I personally, again, I'm not a Civil War historian, but I feel like in all I've learned and again, my brother, huge Civil War guy, he used to do a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Not reenactments or anything like that, but he used to do a lot of, I don't want to say reports, I guess, whatever it was.
Yeah, he was interested.
Yeah, very interested. So, that would make sense because if he died pretty early on, which you said within a year.
Yes.
You okay there? You just crossed your eyes.
Oh my God, the Corona sunbrew is just amazing. I love it.
No, I am a big fan of this. And I really wish my fridge wasn't over there because I want to grab a second one shortly.
So A bullet severed an artery in his leg, and then he bled to death.
Yeah, that will do it.
Yeah. So it was a devastating blow to the Confederacy, both tactically and psychologically.
Sure.
And then PGT Beauregard, don't ask me what his initials are, what his full name is. But
what is his full name?
PGT Beauregard took command.
Okay.
And by nightfall believed he had secured a victory and called a halt to the attacks.
Oh, shit.
But here's the kicker.
Oh, dear.
While the Confederates were celebrating,
yes,
Buell's army was arriving.
Of course.
And they started ferrying across the Tennessee River, which was right there.
Right.
Reinforcing Grant's battered forces.
Okay.
Okay. I swear we'll get to the weird part.
I trust you.
The Union now had the numbers, and Grant was ready to counterattack.
Okay.
So April 7th now, we're talking a whole 24 hours later.
Right.
The tables turned.
Oh, dear.
Grant launched a counterattack, pushing back against the exhausted Confederate lines. Buell's army are fresh.
Sure.
They haven't seen battle recently, so they are fresh.
They just showed up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've been probably resting on their way
exactly.
in, even if they've been marching in or whatever, but they haven't been attacking. So,
yes,
that makes sense.
So the fighting was just as bad as the previous day, but now the Union had the momentum. So Union gunboats on the Tennessee River added to their volleys and attacks.
Sure.
And Beauregard, realizing that he was outnumbered and outgunned, ordered a retreat back to Corinth.
Okay.
And Grant chose not to follow them.
Oh.
Okay. That ends the Battle of Shiloh.
Okay.
Okay. And Shiloh was the church.
Yes.
Okay. The casualties of Shiloh.
How many?
Oh, my God. It is considered the sixth deadliest battle in the Civil War.
Holy shit.
Gettysburg is number one at
obviously.
50,000 something.
Yeah.
Battle of Shiloh was approximately 23,000, 24,000.
Holy balls.
Yeah.
That many.
So, Union casualties.
Wow.
1,754 killed, 8,000 wounded.
Jesus.
3,000 missing or captured. Confederate casualties about 10,000, 11,000.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, sixth deadliest battle in the Civil War. There were about 50 major battles and another 100 smaller battles. Okay.
It's funny because if that's the sixth
deadliest.
Yeah. I honestly.
Over like a 24-hour period, plus or minus.
Right. I mean, my memory is not the greatest. I've had a few beers since then, but I've never heard of this one.
I know.
So that's just wild that it would be like the sixth most deadliest battle.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it. So that's just wild. So
Grant, despite his victory, actually did face a lot of criticism.
Okay.
The press said that he was being lambasted for being like caught off guard.
I like that word.
And allowing his army to be surprised.
Sure. No, I get that.
And many called for his removal.
Oh, Lord.
But President Lincoln said, quote, "I can't spare this man. He fights," end quote.
Fights.
Yes.
Good man.
So he recognized Grant's tenacity, his ability to learn from his mistakes, and his determination. And of course, Grant later becomes a U.S. president, right?
Right.
Okay. So Shiloh.
Right.
Also highlighted the importance of logistics and supplies, right?
Okay.
The sheer scale of the battle strained the capabilities of both armies. The need for efficient transportation, communication, supply lines becomes evident, right?
Right.
The use of steamboats on the Tennessee River was pivotal for the Union.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. I mean, just to probably move supplies, troops, whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
So Shiloh marked a shift in the psychological landscape of the war.
Okay.
The soldiers who survived were starting to receive, like, get the PTSD, what we now call PTSD.
That we now know as PTSD.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So the battle also showed the importance of naval supports on the river, right?
Right.
The gunboats was just a huge victory for the Union, and it provided crucial artillery support against the Confederates, right?
Sure.
So in the end, Shiloh was brutal. chaotic, transformative.
Lots of people died.
Now imagine the wounds.
Oh, dear.
That the soldiers endured.
I don't want to because it sounds terrible.
But I'm going to tell it to you.
Oh, dear.
We're going to talk musket ball wounds.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Have you heard of the mini ball?
Yes, I have actually.
Do you know what it is?
No, but you asked me if I heard of it.
I have. So it is it's a lead bullet.
Right.
That is kind of the size and shape as like a thimble, like a sewing thimble.
Sure. Okay.
So it's designed to expand upon impact, resulting in massive tissue damage.
Oh, so it kind of tears through you kind of thing? Sure.
So it can shatter bones, tear through muscle. It can carry dirt and clothing fragments deep into the wound, increasing risk of infection.
Sure.
Extensive internal damage with vital organs, etc.
Sure.
And then we've got artillery wounds. So this is shrapnel and cannonballs.
Oh, dear.
Shrapnel can tear through groups of soldiers, causing multiple wounds at once.
It sure can, yep.
Cannonballs can crush limbs, even whole bodies. And then we have bayonet and saber wounds, which is a lot less common at this time.
But still there. And
close quarter combat.
And very dangerous. Like if you got a bayonet, especially because of the way they were shaped.
Yeah.
You were pretty fucked back in those days because the shape of them just really fucked. You couldn't close the wound,
right?
Kind of thing. So those were wild, but yeah, maybe not as prevalent, but still there.
Yeah.
So
and then we have the infections.
Yep.
Major killer in the Civil War.
Oh yes.
Medical practices were primitive. Antiseptics were hardly used.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't know if what I heard when I heard this was correct, but didn't that kill like almost as much, if not more?
I actually don't have the number on that.
But you've heard something along that lines that it killed a lot of people.
It did kill a lot of people.
Could you imagine how many people would have survived with the proper care? But they didn't have that back then, obviously.
But that brings me to something weird.
Weird.
It's called Angel's Glow.
Angel's Glow.
The battlefield itself is soaked by rain, churned into mud.
Sure.
Breeding ground for disease.
Right.
Remember Andersonville?
Oh, I sure do.
Yes.
Place is messed up.
With the issue of the limited medical understanding at the time and the lack of knowledge about infection and effective treatments, the wounded lay waiting for medical attention, and this weird phenomenon starts to happen.
Oh, dear.
In the darkness of night, because they're laying here for a couple days.
Yeah, they're waiting.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
In the darkness of night.
Sure.
Their wounds started to glow. Like a la radium glow.
So
unsettling, but not scary.
Lip tip point.
So they were witnessing this strange luminescence. So the soldiers whose wounds glowed seemed to recover more readily than those whose wounds didn't.
Okay.
So that's why they called it Angel's Glow. It was actually warding off death for some of these soldiers.
That is weird.
Back then, no one understood what was happening.
Obviously.
And it remained a Civil War mystery for 140 years.
Okay. So we found out in 2001?
2001.
Look at me going math.
Bill Martin in 2001 and his family were on a trip at the Battle of Shiloh. He's like on the ground.
So he's taking a tour type thing?
He's taking a tour of this battleground.
Sure.
He's with his family. He's 17 and he's very science-minded.
Oh, all right.
And he actually really likes learning about the Civil War.
Sure.
He learned about this Angel's Glow and a light bulb went off.
Like literally it went off?
Fucking sure. This 17-year-old had a huge advantage. His mother was a bacteriologist.
Well, that seems prevalent to the story.
He'd grown up learning about her research.
Sure.
And at the time, she was actually studying bioluminescent bacteria.
That sounds very on point for what we're talking about.
So while in Shiloh, he asked his mother if the bacteria she was researching could have been responsible for the glowing wounds.
Sure.
And she didn't know the answer to that. So she's like,
let's look into it.
Yes, go investigate. Let's do this.
Let's figure this shit out.
So 17-year-old Bill and his 18-year-old friend, John, who is also a science enthusiast, set out to test Bill's hypothesis through experimentation.
Sure.
So Bill and John started by meticulously researching the conditions at Shiloh during the battle.
Okay.
They discovered that the cold, wet, and muddy terrain would have been ideal for photohabdus luminescence.
Can you say that one more time?
Photohabdus luminescence.
That's so weird.
We're going to call it P luminescence. Okay. So P, and that's actually how my article stated it. It was P luminescence. Okay. It's not just me being lazy. So P luminescence is a bioluminescent bacterium that lives symbiotically within a parasitic worm called a nematode.
A nematode. So that's like a type of frog?
No.
A nematode?
It's a parasitic worm.
I was joking, but yes.
When the nematode feeds on its host, it regurgitates.
Oh, it throws up.
Releasing the glowing bacteria from its digestive tract.
Oh, okay.
This explained the luminescence.
Right.
But the key question remained, nematodes don't typically survive in the human body due to its warmth.
Sure. Are they more cold?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The weather at Shiloh was unseasonably cold
Sure.
and rainy, and the wounded soldiers were left exposed for extended periods of time in the mud.
Well, they're just sitting there, like you said. So, okay.
So this exposure likely led to hypothermia, causing their body temperatures to drop.
Ooh.
Coupled with the fact that the glow appeared at night when temperatures were even lower, Bill and John's theory began to kind of solidify.
Sure.
So the combination of the wet, muddy environment allowed the nematode to thrive.
Okay.
And the hypothermic soldiers became viable hosts for the parasite.
Wow, that's weird.
With the presence of the bacteria explained, Bill and John turned their attention to the improved survival rates.
Sure.
So they suspected that P. luminescence possessed medical properties.
Okay.
The research revealed that P. luminescence wasn't harmful. Instead, it acted as a natural antibiotic, killing off other bacteria that caused wound infections and hindered healing.
So that was really a godsend to these people, because most likely if that didn't happen, they would have been, for lack of a better word, fucked.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
It essentially acted like modern antibiotics.
Yeah, in a way, because it helped with certain things that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise. So that's wild. Okay.
And this was something that Civil War medics couldn't have grasped at the time.
Of course not.
The medical potential of bacteria, the foundation of antibiotics, wasn't understood until Alexander Fleming's discovery of what in 1928?
Penicillin.
Penicillin, you got it. Had they known, they might have even attempted to inoculate other soldiers with P. luminescence.
Sure, no kidding.
So their groundbreaking work earned Bill and John the top prize at the 2001 International Science and Engineering Fair in San Jose, California.
Wow.
Before their discovery, some historians dismissed the stories of glowing wounds as mere folklore.
Okay.
But the logical and well-supported findings that these kids did with the help of Bill's mother provided such a great explanation to provide credibility to what these soldiers were experiencing.
That's wild. No, I never heard of that before. And it makes total sense because it was the perfect, almost, lack of a better word, breeding ground for these worms, you said?
Yes, nematode. And their bacteria, their regurgitated bacteria.
But like you said, if it was just the right temperature, because if it was too warm, wouldn't have happened. And the right
weather.
Right. Yeah. No, that's wild.
Yeah. So that's the weird story of the Battle of Shiloh and Angel's Glow. I
definitely never heard of Angel's Glow, but I don't recall the Battle of Shiloh. I'll have to ask my brother, like, hey, have you ever heard of this?
So I am going to reference a video.
Yeah.
It's like American Civil War history or something on YouTube.
Sure.
But there is a very, like, I think it's like an 18-minute documentary about this battle, but it shows the maps as well.
Oh, nice.
And like the different configurations that these troops were doing on each other. And it was really interesting to see. But this particular YouTube channel has a lot of these little short documentaries with corresponding maps.
That's pretty cool, because it also then kind of helps you work your way through
Visualize. Yeah. I'm a very visual learner.
I am 100% the same. So
as I talk through a microphone for an audio
microphone.
Anyway, isn't that weird?
That is super weird.
Yeah.
No, I really like that. That's wild, because especially with the time that happened, these people got to be like, what the fuck?
Yes. Why am I glowing?
Yeah, they have no idea.
Mm-hmm, no.
And rightly so. Why would they know that?
Yes.
But with further research, even hundreds of years later, basically, this is why.
Yes.
So it's cool that A, it was found out, even if it took a while, and B, why am I glowing? What's happening to me?
But I'm feeling better. I'm not dead yet.
Kind of reminds me of the Simpsons episode of the school superintendent or whatever went to go to Seymour Skinner, the principal's house, and then the Aurora Borealis was in his kitchen. He's like, the Aurora Borealis is in your kitchen. Yeah. Can I see it? No. It's just funny. I am totally just not quoting it properly because it's super funny, but no, like how would they have known that?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, 1860. Well, she's 1 to 5, but you said 2.
1 to 5. Yeah, the Battle of Bull Run was in July of 61.
Right.
And Shiloh was April 62.
Right. So 1862. These people aren't going to know, why is my skin glowing?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Not knowing it's some random worm regurgitating on them.
Regurgitating.
And actually helping them.
I feel like we need to name something nematode.
Let's do it.
Crickets. Anyway.
What do you mean crickets? I said let's do it.
How do you like your Corona Sunbrew Citrus Cerveza?
I really liked it. It's
got a little bit of like a sour back end.
It's got some citrus, little sour back end.
Yeah.
I am a big fan.
I like it. Yeah.
I've had one and I'm about to have a second one. So no, I rather enjoyed it.
So we can have more. Well,
I suppose. All right, buffoons. That's it for today's episode.
Buckle up, because we've got another historical adventure waiting for you next time. Feeling hungry for more buffoonery? Or maybe you have a burning question or a wild historical theory for us to explore?
Hit us up on social media. We're History Buffoons Podcast on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us at historybuffoonspodcast@gmail.com. We are Bradley and Kate. Music by Corey Akers.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and turn those notifications on to stay in the loop.
Until next time, stay curious and don't forget to rate and review us.
Remember, the buffoonery never stops.